All right, and so let's go ahead and jump in with Microsoft Flow with AI Builder. Flow with AI Builder, what is this solving? Well, you're able to now embed AI in your business processes, and you don't need a data scientist to do it. And so what does that really mean for you? It's a guide that gives you a step-by-step experience to building AI models. And those can be varying different things. They can be object detection, where I could take a picture of an item that then tells me, oh, this is a cup, or this is a plate, or this is a nut or a bolt, or this is a specific piece of a car. You can build object detection that will recognize items for you, so you can add that intelligence to your business process. There's also forms processing, where I can build form recognition around things like dollar amounts, around things like company names, where now when a form comes in through email, I don't have to have a person look at every single one of those. I can have the AI begin to do it for me. And then I can even go a step further and have it grant me confidence. And based on that confidence, I can then build flows that make decisions for me. Like if the AI is 99% confident, awesome. Let's go ahead and use that idea. If it's not, let's go ahead and make sure that that decision gets put in front of a person so that the adequate level of intelligence can be made on that decision. But what this does is it gives you the ability to not have to worry about those low-level things where the AI is super, super confident, where you've built the model to really help your business process. All right, so here we are on the Flow site, and what we can see is I have a manually triggered flow, and what it's looking for is a document. So you'd upload a document to this Flow button. It then would send that to the Forms Processing AI model. And so what you can see here is I have a model that's already defined, and then it's looking for a certain payload. This payload is in JSON, and you can see that I'm passing some base 64 information to it. And so what I'm doing here is I'm basically passing content of the file that I took from that button step above. And then what I tell it is there's a certain type here that it's going to be. It's likely going to be an image of type JPEG so that it knows what to expect and how to break that down. Then what happens is after it goes through that processing model, it then returns something to me, a bunch of information, the information I'm really looking for out of that form. And so this is all structured JSON, and so this is how it's going to come back to me. This is the format it's all in. And then what I do is I have it send me a notification that says a new invoice is processed, and it actually pulls out the total for me here using a calculated value. And so what happens is this flow goes and takes a form, it cycles through all of the information in that form, it looks for the total field, and then it goes ahead and gives me that number for that form. And so very quickly, you can see how you could set other fields here, company name, person, email address, any information that you might want to collect out of a form, you could have the AI model here learn and then return that information to you in this same manner. In this release, we also have the new Business Process Flow Immersive Experience. The Business Process Flow Immersive Experience allows you to actually create business process flows that are not directly tied to a CDS entity. Now, in the past, if you've ever worked with business process flows, you know that there's some complex common data service work that takes place ahead of time. You have to create an entity, you have to create fields and attributes, you have to set all that up ahead of time. Well, now, with the immersive BPF experience, you can actually go ahead and create a BPF inside of Flow without having to tie it to an entity right away. You could actually do that work later so you can model your process first. This is an entirely new way of thinking about business processes, and it actually speeds up the development of your business processes by quite a lot. And so what are some of the highlights here? You can create and run a BPF right from Flow without reading a model-driven app. They come with their own rich forms for related content, and you can actually share and assign runs to other people so that you can collaborate on these items. So, how does this work? Okay, so here we are on the Flow site. We are on the My Flows and the Business Process tab. So what you can see is this is the current experience for Flow. When I click New and I want to create a new business process, let's just call it onboarding. you can see that I have to right now choose an entity. And so this speaks to what I mentioned in the slide, right? You would have to do a whole bunch of upfront work to create an entity, to create attributes and fields and all that before you could ever start on your business process. Or you could try and guess what one of these entities means and choose one of those. But to lower the barrier of entry and to get it so that people could be able to begin building business processes without worrying about this stuff up front, we've gone ahead and made a new experience. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my other environment here, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and click on New. I'm going to call this Onboarding. And then what you're going to see is I have this brand new option here that says None for the immersive business process. And so this will allow me to go ahead and get into start modeling my business process right away without worrying about any of that behind the scenes work up front. In this release, we also are talking about flows inside of solutions. So, flows that use solution components. What does this solve? Solutions really are a way to package up more than just flows. It's a way for you to package up entire solutions, just like it says. And we know that solutions are usually just not a flow. They can be apps, they can be dashboards, they can be business processes, they could be flows, they could be entities from the common data service. There's a multitude of different things that come together to make up a full solution. And so what we're doing here with solution components is actually allowing you to do just that. Take an entire set of things across the Power Platform, package it up in a solution, and then be able to distribute that in varying places, whether that be different environments or whether that be to different companies if you're a vendor. The possibilities here really open up your ability to stop the single import and export across the platform. Oh, I need to export this app, and oh man, that app has dependency on an Excel. That's all gone. And so let's go ahead and actually jump into solutions here and see what one looks like. All right, so I'm here on the Flow portal. You can see that I am under the Solutions tab. Now, if you don't see the Solutions tab in your environment, that's probably because you actually need to upgrade your plan. This is a premium feature, and so if you're not seeing it, that's most likely why. So if you do have the Solutions tab, you should see something like this where you can add a new solution. But let's go ahead and actually jump into one of these, like the Asset Checkout solution, and see what this is made up of. So we can see there's a bunch of things here. There's a model-driven app, there's web resources, there's entities, there's a business process flow. There's actually multiple entities here. So you can actually see how all of this comes together to create the asset checkout solution. And so imagine you're a company that wants to create solutions like this, bundle them up, and then sell them to multiple customers. We're going ahead and trying to make that easy so that you can manage the life of these solutions from front to back. And the last feature I want to cover in this release is running flows from a geofence. So what is a geofence? Basically, I can go ahead and put a virtual fence around an area. That could be a park or a company site, or it could be a customer site. It could be anywhere I want. And what happens is when I enter that virtual fence, suddenly then my flow is triggered. So what's possible for that? So on the simple side of things, imagine workers no longer having to punch a time clock. They walk in to that fence and the time is logged. They walk out of that fence, the time is logged. Or imagine your sales guy pulling up to his customer site, and suddenly he gets an email with a playbook that shows all of the latest customer records, all of their latest social media, what the news might be saying about them. It takes all that information, creates this nice email, and just delivers it to your pocket. So you walk in with the freshest information. Let's actually go ahead and just take a look at what it looks like to set a geofence and what that sales playbook flow might look like. All right, so I'm back here on the Flow site, and you can see that I have a trigger in place that says when I enter or exit an area. If I go ahead and open that up and I click on Edit Trigger Region, it takes me to a nice map. And so what you can do with this map here is actually you can set different areas. Let's say that I have a customer over here in Eastmont, and let's get really specific and say they're right here on this corner. So let's go ahead and say when I enter their street, when I'm driving in, I want to go ahead and have that email delivered so I can check it out when I'm in the car. It's literally as simple as setting that blue circle, sliding down, and hitting save. And now, that's it. All of my subsequent actions. Go get my records from CDS. Get that user's timeline from Twitter. Let's get all the news items about them. Let's go ahead and take some of the items out of there that are relevant to us, join it together, create a table, and send it to that salesperson's pocket. It's all possible with Flow and geo-triggering.